So we are going to make a graph using R, and to do so, just let me adjust the screen. So we open R and then we set a directory from session, set directory, and then choose one. For me, I have one called R, a file, and you can create any file you want. So I have this called R lab, and open. So you can see that now everything is saved to this file. Now we go to File, New File, and New R script. So we can write our code in it. And then we also go to File, New File, sorry, and then Text File for us to put our data in there. So first of all, let's save them. So you go there and then save. And you can name it anything. For example, you can name it R Studio Graph. Save. For the file, you also save it. And you can name it Graph Lab. Save. And here we are going to post our data. So I have a file which has over 1,000 data collected. So I copy this and I'll paste it in here. And since, sorry, we have to put this code. And I named my data X, and you can name it whatever you want. And we can run. So now the R recognize the data. And also before I start, I always like to load my before I plot the graph, I like to load them or to get the package ready in my studio. And we can do that by library, then ggplot. Sometimes it gives me error if I don't do this, so I always do this step before starting and run. So now we have things ready. And we can plot our first graph, which is a very simple one, from this from writing this code qplot. And the first thing is that I want the CFMT to be on the y-axis, or on the x-axis. So the first thing you write will be on the x-axis, which is this one in my case. I have CFMT and FFMT, so I want the CFMT to be on my x-axis, and then FFMT on my y, and then data equal x, because my data name is x. Then run. So now we have our first graph. And from here we can make changes or edit the graph. For example, here we can see that the dots are very well organized, and this is not a very accurate representation of what a plot look like. So we can make them more jittery, or we can make them so that the graph can give us a more accurate representation of what of where each dot lays on the graph. So we can write the same code, and then we can put geom, sorry, it's comma, geom equal jitter. Then we run this. So here we have an idea of where each person or each data point lays on the graph. In my graph, I also have two groups in English, and they are 0 and 1. So one who speak English as their native language, and I think the 0 is whose English is not their native language. So we can split this graph into two. One is where the data where the data belong to people who speak English as their native language, and one graph represent people who don't speak English as their native language. We can do that by using the same code, then writing plus, facet, wrap, and we put this symbol, and then we write English. Now we have a nicely split graph for the two groups. We can also change the color of it, and we can also represent younger people with darker color, which is in this case is a default in R. So we can say color equal age. So here we have blue dots with the key here, where younger people are represented by a darker blue. We can also change, or we can make the dots more transparent, and we can also make them larger. And we can make this step without adding a key in here, so that only the dots appearance will change without affecting the representation of the data. So instead of like writing color to age or like size equal age, in this case we write size equal I, and then you write the size you want, like 5 to 6. In my case, I'll just put 4. And alpha, which will make the dot transparent, we do the same thing. Alpha equal I 0.1, for example, and I stand for as in, which will only change the appearance without affecting the representation of the data. So then we have this graph, which is very nice. Then we can save our graph from before that, just make sure that you save your your text and stuff. Then we can export the graph. From exports, I prefer PDF, so I'll save as PDF. Then our plot practice, I'll name it practice. And you can see preview. And so this is what our graph, our final version will look like. And then you can just like save it. Alright, thank you so much.